I was the operations manager there, of an employee hosing towards an Indigenous man. It's gone viral. Can you tell me from your perspective what happened?
Sure, Kay. Firstly, as an opener, I'd like to say that me personally and the business in no way condone any sort of intimidation or physical harm to anybody, regardless of who or where they're from. So I just want to put that out there right now, that actions, certainly speak louder than words, but we don't condone any sort of physical actions taken against or intimidation towards people in and around the area. Now, if to get down to grassroots, and I know that there'll be criticism based on, well, I'm being pedantic and splitting hairs here. However, there was a disturbance outside the front of the shop there in Mitchell Street. The 131444 number was rung from the shop. There is a promise number in place in regards to that from the police.
Yep.
And a fairly lengthy period of time went past without attendance. Now, I'm not criticising police here. I know they've got a lot on their plate, and I know their numbers are small. During that time, there was foodstuffs which had been thrown around the front of the store, had to be cleaned up and removed so that the shop could still trade. And the 30-second or so bite of video that, yes, as you said, has gone viral, showed the end portion of that. Now, the other thing I'd like to bring up on that is that when the NT News posted the video, they said that the audio has been removed to protect the person who who filmed it. Now, I was made privy to the original sound attached to it, and you can hear the person with the hose say, "Come on, mate, can you please move on?" That's since been removed from it to remove any context from the whole video. And, that's, I don't know enough about retrieval of metadata, but if someone out there can retrieve that and put the audio back on, it paints it in a much fairer light.
How did you sort of feel after you saw that video that had gone up online?
To be perfectly honest, and it's probably a fairly selfish attitude, my first thoughts were, what is this going to do to the business? Because you could see it wasn't painted in a fair light at all. And, my concerns were for the business.
Obviously there'll be some people out there listening that will say there shouldn't be a situation where you're hosing towards a person who appears to be homeless outside the business.
Yeah, and that's why I, pretexted the whole statement with that we don't condone any sort of intimidation towards people with a physical or verbal attacks. The main purpose of the hose on that day was to clean up the front of the shop. Now, some people have already rung into the shop and said, why do you even have a hose attached to the inside of the shop? As you've mentioned already, it's a common occurrence to have to hose away feces, urine, vomit from the shop fronts and footpaths on Mitchell Street. Now, a peculiarity occurred yesterday. I haven't seen it. I can't recall the last time it happened. At opening the store yesterday, council were there cleaning the street and hosing down, and I haven't seen that in over a year. So I don't know how those two correlate, the events, but a weird little anomaly there.
Well, I guess, that really does sort of lead me to the next question. We have had a number of other businesses make contact with us here at Mix 104.9 and say to us that, that they've been faced with the situation. We're arriving to work in the morning. They have had human waste outside their business or in the alcoves next to the business, and that they've then had to obviously clean that mess up. I feel as though this video actually, it would be very easy for people to look to your business or to look to your employee and say, oh, they've been racist here, or this is a situation where they're not being compassionate towards those who are homeless. But I actually feel as though it highlights a much bigger issue for us here in Darwin CBD, and it's one that we've been talking about for an awfully long time. We know that we've got people living rough in the CBD. We know that we've got an issue with alcohol in our CBD, i.e. public drunkenness, and we turn a blind eye to it. But what this video has done is it's shown that we sort of can't turn a blind eye to it anymore. The government can be outraged, the opposition can be outraged, but we've got to work together as a community to try and fix that.
Hit the nail on the head. It's exactly what, without taking away the actual video footage, the whole thing has just blown up to the point where, you know, we see a systemic failure in, not just this government, I'm not just highlighting the Gunner government, but previous governments as well. There's been too many meetings about what can be done. An example of this, 14th of June this year, Lauren Moss, Tourism Minister, Port of Darwin MLA Mr Kirby, and NT Tourism representatives met in our office with other tourism operators and retailers, and the first question posed was, what are the major problems you're facing? And without veil, the consensus amongst everybody was the state of Mitchell Street. Now, this is the 14th of June. We're now mid-September, 14th of September. And we've heard no feedback, we've had no reports, we've had no action taken. And this is on top of the continual, and I don't like to bring up names and other things, but we know we've got other retailers and other operators who have been targeted numerous times in the street, yet we're not seeing action. Is it, I mean, successive governments have failed to solve homelessness issues. And that's one of the big causes of it. They're homeless, where do you go? Into town. Easy solution? No, but it does affect businesses.
Colin, what do you think that the government and the council need to be doing to try to fix the problems we've got in Darwin with public drunkenness and our homelessness?
Okay, I think asking me what the solution is above my pay grade as such.
For a business, do you think that they need to be doing more, you know, to try and move people along? If you have got people sleeping rough outside your place of work, do you think that they need to try and help business a little bit in that area, and also help the people that are sleeping rough?
Oh, yeah, definitely. If they can be moved along, move along, but where do you move them to? And that gets back to my earlier point. If they've got nowhere to go, what can you do about it? And how many resources can you keep throwing at the same problem if it's going to keep recurring without a fix? Now, I don't know what the solution was, but let's use Cairns as an example. They had a massive itinerant problem along their waterfront esplanade area, etc. Cured, fixed. Cured might not be the right word, but solved. Was it more housing? I don't know the solution. Can we investigate that? Can one of our leaders that we've elected, that we pay for, go and investigate that and find out how Cairns solved their problem?
Colin, there will be some people out there listening, because I know that this video has certainly divided people, and I know that there'll be some out there listening who are maybe thinking that your employee or that your business has acted in a racial way or a racist way. Is that the case?
Racism isn't any part of this. You mentioned it before that it doesn't matter if it's a black or white issue. It's a homeless issue. It is an itinerant issue. It's not race specific.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think that we do have a situation in the city, and like I said, we've had a lot of businesses call in to support, to support your business and say that...
We too have received many phone calls from businesses in and around the CBD offering support, yeah, and offering to be named and say, yes, we stand up in support of this, because they're facing the same thing, having to clean up their shop fronts in the morning.
I know then in turn there'll be some people in the community who saw that video and felt really uncomfortable and felt as though maybe this elderly man was being treated in a way that just wasn't right. What would you say to them?
Well, again, it's in the light of what was shown, it looks very damaging. In context of the entire episode, which it needs to be looked at, but probably never will be, it is going to be, harmful. The business, we've got a young lady in there during the day taking phone calls and bookings for other tour operators. She's copying abuse, both via email and phone. I don't think that's fair on her at all. So, that's just one of the small hurdles that we're having to get over now in trying to make this right.
Have you, what have you sort of said to the employee about the hosing incident?
To be honest, the word brain fart came out. And I understand it was brought about by frustration, lack of action in near an hour from the call, and needing to clean the front of the shop up. There was food waste on the windows, on the footpath, etc. One of the actual A-frame signs had been picked up and thrown, and the perceived lack of action from authorities caused him to take action that has now, well, as I said before, I don't condone it, and he's been spoken to about it, and I just think that, reiterating, it's just about frustration. Nothing was being done.
Colin, where to from here, do you think, for territory businesses and those CBD businesses that are feeling pretty frustrated with the situation that we've got in the city at the moment, with homelessness and itinerants? Where to from here?
Where is the answer to that? Who can open the book and find the answer?
I guess it starts with a conversation, doesn't it, like we're having this morning?
We've had too many conversations with political leaders, council, police, night patrols. Everybody's been involved in conversation, but we're not seeing any action. As I mentioned, Cairns have managed to solve their problem. Let's look at the model. Let's see what worked and see if it can be implemented here.
Colin Bird, the operations manager of Darwin Tours, mate, I appreciate you coming in this morning. I know, it's probably not something that was on your agenda when you started the week. I really appreciate you coming in and talking to us about the incident.
Katie, thanks for the opportunity, and I just hope that we can all, as a community, move on from this and make Darwin just that great place to live that we all want it to be.
Colin, thank you for your time. Thanks. It is just on 25 minutes after 9 o'clock. If you'd like to call through this morning, 8941 1155.
Harvey Norman Hardly Normal store-wide sale with a huge 60 months interest-free. Savings so huge, it's hardly normal. Buy now with 60 months interest-free. No deposit, no interest with monthly payments until September 2022.
Minimum finance, $1,500.